In front of us, we have applications for Class 8.
One of my goals as president of the county has been to try to expand and strengthen the capacity of the county to support meaningful projects like this one.
Some established businesses here and also some new businesses.
And today's ribbon cutting showcases how important and successful our work can be. This project reflects county support in two ways. First of all, there's a Class 8 tax incentive for the building, for the entire building.
Our village attorney, John Murphey, had sent email out to all the trustees explaining the Class 8 procedure and why it's important that we consider this.
A small commercial tax base in this part of Cook County hurts residential property owners. That's Trustee De Laurentiis from the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association, responsible for the Southland Reactivation Act. It's a tax incentive program aimed to entice investors to develop unused municipally owned lots like this one.
So is there any questions in regards to this Class 8?
My understanding that these Class 8s are for new businesses, but the ones that are already in existence and are just adding on to what is already there, that qualifies them as well?
It does.
This Class 8 tax incentive is to attract and retain businesses. So it's just not for new businesses, but to retain the businesses of some of the ones that we already have here.
Well, I find it kind of ironic. There have been several people that came before our board and asked for a Class 8, and you was totally against giving out Class 8s. So how all of a sudden now 7 different businesses you want us to approve a Class 8 for?
I
think you should elaborate and explain to the residents when we give a Class 8 what that entails, what that do.
Class 8 was designated because we're losing businesses to here in Cook County to Indiana and Will County. How does the Class 8 and the Reactivation Act, how does that balance out between the two? What's the differences?
So really for the investors in the municipalities that are considering development agreements with developers, there should be an analysis of what's the better property tax incentive.
I think, first of all, I think Trustee Brown just explained that to you, and then...
No, she did not. She did not. She made a statement. She did not explain what a Class 8 is. What do it do?
It establishes a very low tax bill and takes the process out of the reassessment process, the 3-year cycle that all properties face as part of the Cook County reassessment process.
It provides a tax incentive for the businesses that are here and new businesses that come here.
Okay.
And you've got the email.
But how do it impact the residents? How do it impact the community? When we give out a Class 8, how do it affect them? That's what you're not telling them.
This new economic development tool was designed to bring blighted, languishing properties back onto the tax rolls. So having tax exempt parcels contributing to the base, then the idea is that everyone's tax bill drops.
Okay, you tell them how it affects them.
This your agenda item. I don't have to explain it.
You tell them how it affects them. You got the explanation from the village attorney.
We see this both as an economic development tool in the toolkit of the South Suburbs, but also as a near-term property tax solution. So while we all are suffering, we see that the more properties that are coming in, put into productive use, the more are contributing to support our schools and local governments and everything, and ultimately reduce the tax pressures on existing businesses.
And giving them an incentive to either stay here or come here to develop business is what towns do.
So we see that having this new increment coming in will start to reduce the actual tax bills on residential and business property owners.
Now, you can look at all these other towns with development. They give Class 8s and Class 6Bs to bring businesses there. And if we're not more friendly to the business community, we're not going to have any businesses. The way to have a village to survive is bringing businesses in and economic development.
Only way.
And these previous boards have been totally against that. You voted against everything. Everything that could have been revenue generated, you voted against.
And you finished, Mayor?
You got any further?
I just want the residents to ask questions. Just because we say it up here,
they'll
don't make it
get
true.
an opportunity to ask
We're
questions.
giving out-
We're asking for.
Mayor, you just asked me and I'm speaking. Can I?
Okay.
Thank you. We're giving out 7 Class 8s. That's a lot. That's a hit in our tax revenue. And I think the mayor should explain to you guys what that entails. It's his agenda item. He should explain it.
This office used to basically incentivize and reward vacancy. If you kept a property empty, you could get a reduction in your assessment of up to 90%.
Here's how it worked. An investor would buy a vacant commercial property at a low price and would keep it empty to save money on maintenance and improvements in hopes the neighborhood would gentrify and the value of that property would go way up.
Bringing businesses
It
here.
ain't about bringing businesses.
It ain't
here.
about bringing businesses
that's
here.
Not. That has nothing to do with bringing businesses
Okay.
in the community.
Right.
Like
That's
she
why.
just said, these
That's
are
why we
people that's
haven't had any
already
since
here.
you've been on this board because you voted
Mayor,
against everyone.
No, I have not. But I'm not gonna go back and forth with you over that.
Thank you.
But my point is, ask questions, residents.
Will we be generating revenue with these businesses?
It's really hard to know for each individual sites, but many of the sites that are now enrolled have sat dormant for a long time.
Yes, actually, I think there's 3 or 4 of them for the same company. They want to expand. All those vacant buildings that's over there off of Greenwood, Maryland and Drexel, they are buying them up. We're opening up another new business here in the village of Dolton. Our water treatment plant. It's going to be additional employees that come from the village of Dolton. There's going to be expansion within the next 5 years. And we're happy to have another building here occupied that was vacant for approximately 8 years.
I'd like to thank 2 people in particular, Mayor Rogers for his vision in suggesting this building to us when we first came to Dolton to see whether there were any available properties for purposes of putting this business in this area.
And so you rather have a vacant building than have a company come in and improve the site and take over that building. This company came into this town and got a vacant building that had been vacant for 8 to 10 years. Cleaned that building up. They started out with 4 employees. They have over 40 employees now. They have expanded to every vacant building over there. And that's what this is all about. This 1317 East Sibley is a vacant lot that's next to the Taco Bell that we're this close to putting a company there, new construction.
Mayor.
What?
Just give an example.
You want to
whatever.
You want to argue about
I'm not arguing.
everything.
We discuss. It's called discussion.
Nothing is right, but I'm gonna tell you, Trustee.
Mayor.
I'm gonna just tell you, we're gonna move this town forward. We're not gonna be here 3 or 4 hours a night.
I'm not against that, but I'm gonna ask questions before we do so. What's wrong with that?
And that's fine.
Okay.
You know, it would help if you do a little research before you get up on the bench.
I did do research, but you're not telling them the facts. I know the facts. I
Okay.
just want you. This is your
Okay,
agenda item. But anyway,
what's the fact then?
my fact is this.
What's the fact?
I remember that storage company came up here, and you was against them getting a Class 8. They sit on Woodlawn across from, was it Wendy's? Walgreens.
Yeah.
And you was against giving them a Class 8. So all of a sudden, 7 Class 8s come up, and now you all 4 Class 8s.
Well,
And then tell them what is the tax cut for a business.
I don't know what
I know, but get them examples. Say,
It's-
for instance, it's $20,000 that company would pay for that location. It would get cut in half. It would go to $7,000-8,000.
That's not
Let
true.
alone,
That's
okay,
not
but I'm
true.
saying, well, get them their percentages.
That's not
then.
true.
I
Trustee-
gave it as an example.
Trustee,
I said example.
let me
That's like
Trustee,
residents that have
Trustee.
a house, but we raise their property taxes.
Trustee,
But we gonna give all the cuts to the businesses.
Look,
Come on.
you know what the good thing about this is? You can vote no.
I understand that,
Okay.
but I can also
That's-
say my
that's the-
opinion. I can
that's-
also
that's-
tell you how I feel about it, so I can explain to
that-
residents why I'm voting no.
That's the good thing about this. We're on a path to generate revenue for this town and to move this town forward and make it a better town and a better quality of life for our
I
residents.
disagree with that. All I'm
Okay.
saying is you saying it's good
Right.
for some and not good for
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
If you got a company and you extending your company and we're generating more revenue to help this village, let's move forward and help this village.
I'm all for that, but y'all gotta understand how a Class 8 works. Since they don't want to tell you, let me break it down.
Have Adam Dotson talk about the Class 8 and what the Baymont is doing.
Yeah, just a little background. You know, the building is about 24 years old. In the hotel business, it probably should have had a couple renovations.
Basically, if we give you a Class A, say you come up here and you say, Tiffany, I need a Class A for a beauty salon or whatever.
The fact remains here, taxes are very high for this type of operation. And just to give you some perspective, say this hotel does $1 million in revenue a year. Taxes can be near $350 on this property. That's 35% of their revenue. That's insurmountable to be able to put money back into the property. So if you can see what happened over the last few years with this property was that taxes were being paid and no money was being put back into the building.
I give you a Class A. We can vote and give you 20 years. We can give you 10 years. We can give you 5 years. That will hurt our community. That's what he's leaving out.
For the Class 8, for the buyer here, new management team, brand new facility. They're still finishing up the pool, of course, and then they're going to put in an additional parking lot, finish up that back area over there, and complete the project.
So how long is each Class 8 going to be for? We don't know that. Again, he put stuff before us, but he don't explain it. He just tell y'all, oh, it sounds good, but read between the lines.
Again, Class 8 has that volatility with reassessment, and so it's less predictable, but they're both viable tools for the south suburbs.
What else? What are we missing, Mayor? You're not telling them that.
You know what we missing? Time right now. That's what we missing.
I said it before, it is to attract and retain businesses that are here. You look at Sibley, there's nothing there. In order to get something, you're gonna have to give something. Give a little tax break. You can say 3, 4, 5 years. Nobody's saying 10, 15, 20 years. It has to be voted on. But again, you got to give something to get something.
And I agree, I'm not against that. I totally agree with you on that. But it's not before you to say how many years. It's not.
Okay.
Currently, any site that is supported by a municipality will have that 12-year incentive extending beyond the 5-year period.
Just to give an idea of what the difference in tax is, one request comes in and it says that the tax liability would be $120,000. It would be reduced to $51,000 with a Class 8. I am looking intensely at feedback from the residents. I'm in favor of moving forward on all with the exception of the marathon.
Along with those businesses coming, that means jobs for the residents. So you have to think about that when those businesses come here, then there will be jobs that also will come here.
One business I want to speak on is Water Integrated Systems. If you look at on the YouTube page over the past few years, I've done videos for that company.
We're here today on this beautiful day, windy day here at Water Integrated Treatment Systems to do another ribbon cutting. Just 2 years ago, we did a ribbon cutting here on a vacant building that was actually vacant for 8 years, and Water Treatment Systems came in and they occupied this building, and now they went from 4 employees to 24 employees.
And each year they expand, they grow, they buy, and they stay in Dolton. So this is a good business that's here in the village that's developing. We don't want empty utility or industrial spaces. We don't want that. We want people in there. We want companies in there, and that's what we're doing.
They moved their corporate offices from Gary, Indiana to Dolton. So that's why their expansion. They started out with CTA and one other company. Now they have over 25 companies that they're purifying waste for before it goes to the Water Reclamation District. And they have a number of employees there that live in the village of Dolton.
I am in agreement with Trustee House on all except 1421 East Sibley, which is the Dolton Marathon gas station.
I agree. Let's move forward.
I agree, except for the marathon for public safety reasons.
I want to see how many years each company gonna get.
Okay, so is that a no?
When I get the paperwork in front of me, and I can give you a definite answer. That's next board meeting, right?
Yes. He said he asked and they said no.
Mayor, that's not true.
Mayor,
That's a false statement.
I'm not gonna go back and forth. Okay, all right.
Okay, well, my question still stands for why my items weren't on there. Attorney Murphy, I even CC'd you on it as well, and no one responded to why my items was not on the agenda.
They're not on the agenda. We're gonna go forward. We're gonna go forward with today's
Okay, but
agenda.
I'm asking you that so that I have clarity for next time when I have agenda item.
May I be
have
recognized,
clarity.
Mayor? All you had to do was call the fire department and ask what was going on in Station 2. It's been open. It's been worked on since Scott been back. So all this is pointless. All you have to do is ask the questions. 2, we just had a big meeting about what happened. We can't even disclose it to the public that she was just in. So don't act like that just didn't happen. That's what's frustrating. This just happened, and you're gonna get up here and act like it was a forced resignation when you know what we just discussed. So let's move this village forward. Let's move this meeting
Okay,
forward.
trustee, I know you is a fan of the mayor and you want to sit here and help him. You don't have to help him. I'm talking to the mayor.
Trustee.
So he don't need your help. He can speak for himself.
Trustee, we're moving forward. Next
But
thing
mayor,
on the
I was
agenda.
asking
Next
the
thing
attorney
on
why
the
wasn't my
agenda.
items on the agenda.
Next
So I'll
thing
have
on the
that issue
agenda is
later.
citizens address.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I have two questions concerning the agenda, and both of those are to Attorney Murphy.
So my question is to
We're not answering any
Attorney
questions. We're commenting.
Murphy.
I want to preface my question by saying I hope that all board members receive my congratulatory letter to them I sent.
You don't have to answer, but can I answer my question?
Yes, you make a comment. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, the mayor refused me and the other trustees to make our outgoing statements to the public, as it is customarily. Point of information, Attorney Murphy.
Trustee, it's very lengthy. We've heard you for the last 4 years.
Greetings to all of you. I started my service for the Village of Dolton as an employee, a part-time
You're not going to read that.
media director in 2013, finally as a trustee.
You're not going to read that tonight, trustee. We're not going to have a farewell tour here tonight.
I want the public to see what the mayor just
Any other
did.
general announcements?
The censorship of the First Amendment must stop.
And that question really is for Attorney Murphy, but he's not allowed to talk. Thank you.
Mayor, I don't think that's right. I think you should answer that question. That's why you put citizens address before we vote on things. You should answer their questions so they understand. Exactly. That's not right.
Sir, are you a resident of Dolton? Yes, I am. Okay, where do you live at?
Hi, Duane Muhammad, a 22-year resident of the Village of Dolton, and I'm here to support Tiffany Henyard. I was a former trustee and also ran for mayor, but today we are all united to support Tiffany Henyard for mayor and her dream team for change.
So anybody want to address the board? You can go to the podium.
I just want to say this since I can't ask the question. I hope that you can handle jail, because jail is an awful place to be. Praise God, I was on the other side of the jail, but I was there for 30 years. But you'll be going to the federal joint on, to my understanding, on Wednesdays, Thursdays, you'll get chicken. On Fridays, you'll get fish. And your people have to take a plane to come and visit you, and hopefully they keep you in their mind to put money on your books. You know, one lady asked me in Menards, she asked me about Tahoe Tiffany's mother. Well, where's her mother? Can her mother say anything to her? I say, ma'am, I don't know her mother like that. I don't know.
All right,
So,
call the next person. Your time
thank
is
you.
up.
I'm gonna give you $1 on the books, though, each one of you.
I know, but you better chill out about my mama. I know that.
Former trustee Edward Steave, you know, a wise man was said that when you see people fall, don't laugh, learn. We're watching the fall of this administration. I don't want to laugh, but I want to learn of what not to do.
Ed, you controlling it?
Yeah, I'm controlling it.
Okay. Item D, supporting a proposed Class 8 classification for certain property within the Village of Dolton. It's right next door to Taco Bell. It's a 1-acre partial.
So they're asking for a Class 8 for the vacant lot, correct?
Well, the Class 8 will apply to the property when it's built.
So we don't know what the tax break will be, correct?
Well, we know on a percentage basis. I don't know what the actual market value of the property will be, but I've explained to the board what Class 8 does.
So are they asking for 5 years, 10 years?
All they ask for from the village is that we will support it.
So they didn't put in how long they want
The county program's for up to 12 years. That's the county's
So
program.
it's 12 years.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was asking for.
It's not necessary. It's going to be 12 years. It's up to 12 years.
Yeah, up to 12 years.
It's up to 12
And
years.
then what's the percentage of the, you say it's, okay, so 12 years, and what's the breakdown of percentage?
If it's property that the village wants to maintain or encourage to redevelop, Class 8 is an important positive tool for the village. Right now, commercial properties pay taxes based on being assessed at 25% of market value. The Class 8 for that period of time would allow the property to be assessed at 10% of market value. Our tax rate, and for the citizens of Dolton, is very high. Now, why is it very high? Well, in part because there's no commercial development, and in part because of the real estate crash, because values are way down. Now, we're in competition. We're in competition with Indiana, and we're in competition with other communities who have lower tax rates. Let's assume that a piece of property is built, whether it's there or on one of the other ones that the board's going to vote on, and let's say the market value of that property is $1 million. The tax rate in Dolton, and that's not just for the village, it's for all the taxing bodies, the elementary, the high school, everything, is approximately 25%. So if a piece of property like this were improved with a fair market value of $1 million, the property tax bill for that property would be $175,000 a year. Very high. Now, let's assume the same building, the same construction, the same market value, except it's built in Orland Park. That same property would have a property tax bill of $64,000 compared to $175,000, which means for developers, why should I build in Dolton? Why don't I just go to Orland? So we need, for the property that the village wants to keep, a means to compete with the Class 8. Rather than paying $170,000 a year, the property would pay $70,000 a year. It's not quite as good as Orland Park, but at least we keep tax-paying commercial, non-residential property in Dolton, which is a heck of a lot better than getting a much higher percentage of nothing.
And you asking me to support a Class 8, and I don't even know what I'm supporting it for.
That's what happens in real estate development of this kind in difficult markets.
That the board don't know what's going there, but they want us to vote to give them the Class 8?
I can tell you it's a national company that does retail that will also produce sales tax. All the other communities in the area, in the townships that allow Class 8, do this regularly.
On the motion to approve resolution number 19R-012.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Present.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, motion passed. Next thing on the agenda.
And that's water IT systems. Now that red building behind it, that's newly built. But this is a company that's growing in Dolton and constantly building and buying new properties. And the stuff that they're buying, nobody's in it, they're empty.
This facility, this building here, had been vacant for over 10 years. They've completely rehabbed this facility. They started out with 4 employees. Right now they're up to about 50 employees with the number of employees that live in the village of Dolton. Okay, any discussion on this? Roll call.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Present.
Okay, motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is item F. This facility is in addition to the expansion of water treatment systems. Any discussion? Roll call on it.
Yeah, we give away all these Class 8s. What does this do to the residents on their tax base?
Why don't you explain it to her again, John, since she's not getting it.
It ain't funny. You not getting it. They gonna suffer. They gonna have to cover that fee. You'll see.
What's going to suffer is if we don't get somebody in these buildings, we're going to continue. We're going to continue to have vandalism.
You got 7 on the agenda.
That's what's going to happen. So you rather have these buildings vacant and empty and cause a liability. You have children to go in and play and get hurt in them, and have these buildings vandalized. And when we get ready to sell them, you can't sell them for anything.
Stop with
you
the
got to
scare
give them away.
tactics, Mayor. That's a lot of revenue we're giving away.
Go ahead, Trustee
And
Steve.
you're not telling the residents that they're going to make up the difference.
They're not.
What's
These
gonna happen?
businesses are empty. They're not collecting nothing right now. So something's better than nothing.
Not always.
Only way.
It ain't always something better than another when the residents will have to pay for
Only
it.
way we
They
can-
gonna have to pay for it. They gonna see. That's what
Only way
y'all
we
not
can-
telling them.
Only way we can reduce taxes is if we bring businesses here. And we have to be business friendly. And this is part of being business friendly for the village. And this is part of also trying to be as transparent as possible by putting the pictures up so people know what it is. So these businesses are empty, period. So we need to get more tax revenue in here, and this is a way of doing it.
Okay.
These buildings.
If you think about it,
When
each
these.
property is at 12 years on a tax break. So if they had a taxes, say their taxes was $100,000, now they will pay, say, $20,000 for 12 years. When you want that same break on your house? Okay, then. So
The
why would we
problem
sit here and
is-
give 7 companies a tax break at 12 years?
Trustee,
Come
the
on.
problem
Common sense.
is when those buildings sit empty, there is no tax generation. Secondly, Secondly, it's a harbor. It's a harbor for rodents and animals,
Mayor.
and a playground for kids to go in to get hurt.
That's what
So
you're going on
we have to occupy those buildings.
So, Mayor, you didn't want to get nobody Class 8 over, several months ago. Now, all of a sudden, 7 companies come up and we give them all 7
May I be recognized, Mayor?
Class
Hold on
8.
one minute,
That's not
Trustee.
right.
Trustee,
That's not right, Mayor.
this was discussed at the Cal meeting. There
And
was
I told you how I
consensus.
felt about it then.
Then fine. We
It's
know
still
how
not
you
right.
feel about it. There's going to be a vote taken on it. We're going to fill those
And that's
buildings.
fine. Go right ahead.
May I be recognized?
Go ahead, Trustee.
It's easy to incite the residents to say, well, you want a tax break. This is business. This is business that we need. These buildings are empty. It's easy to throw that out there just to be an obstructionist. But we got to make tough decisions to move this village forward, and this is about it. If you're about moving the village forward, then this is what we're going to do. If you're not, then vote no.
Okay, I think it's about time. You know, we've been saying over and over again, build Dolton, move forward, let the past be the past. Let's get this building moving. Let's get this building up. Let's get some tenants in there, and let's get some revenue coming into Dolton. That's just simple as that.
This vote, take a vote.
On the motion to approve the Class 8,
Aye.
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 Trustee Henyard.
Present.
Okay, motion carries. Next thing on the agenda, Gulf Packaging had 21 locations. They filed for bankruptcy. This is a building that is included in water treatment systems expansion.
This is for Attorney Murphy. With giving these properties a Class 8, will it be any taxes to the residents?
No, the only impact on the residents is a positive one.
Okay. Thank you.
Murphy, what happened to the taxes when we give a tax break? Where do the increase go?
Let me try to explain it again. These properties are going to pay significant property taxes.
Some critics say Illinois relies too much on property taxes for school funding when compared to other states. Now some experts are predicting a property tax apocalypse in southern Cook County.
Those property taxes are going to the village, to the school districts, to everybody.
You see, the rates are driven mostly by money needed to fund schools. And since experts say those southern suburbs have fewer businesses, fewer occupied homes, and fewer high-priced homes than northern suburbs, there is more of a tax burden on south suburban homeowners.
The county approves the assessment change to promote economic development.
Ann Dugervo and her husband bought their dream home in unincorporated south suburban Homewood in 2021. They're not sure they can stay after their property tax assessment went up by nearly $300,000.
It's designed to keep businesses here.
Right.
So
we
if
got
these
that.
businesses go down, then the residents will pay more taxes, the homeowners will pay more taxes. Keeping these businesses here, even at a reduced assessment, will help the homeowners by balancing your tax base.
Thank you.
Like many other residents in the south suburbs, she pays a high tax rate. There, homeowners' rates are between about 14 and 43%, but in the north suburbs, they're 12% or less.
Attorney Murphy.
One of the reasons,
somewhere, it don't just disappear. And when we wipe out $60,000, where do we
There
go?
is no taxes now because they're vacant.
I know that.
Okay,
But we
then it's going
voting
to
on
generate
vacant
taxes.
lands. I understand that.
There was nothing in these buildings from the beginning. There was no taxes being received by the village. Now they're going to be occupied. Sure, it's going to be at a reduced tax rate, but we'll be getting taxes, property taxes from these buildings. And you can see how large they are. So the assessments that's going to be done on them is going to generate a substantial amount of property taxes.
As commercial buildings go down, as they crash, and fewer commercial buildings exist, the residences all over the county are picking up all those taxes.
On the motion to approve a Class 8 exemption,
Aye.
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 Trustee Henyard.
Present.
My motion carries. Next thing on agenda, item H, no discussion, roll call.
Aye.
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 Trustee Henyard.
Present.
Motion carries. Resolution, item I, no discussion on this, roll call.
Mayor, question.
Mayor.
That's the one they bought, was it 30,000?
Yes.
Mayor, could you discuss the, like you talking about the money they put into it already
Okay.
and where they're going?
This was our old media center. Involved a complete makeover. It's going to be offices in there. Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Steave.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm sorry, was that an aye?
Yes, it was.
The